Welcome to the SpeakEasy Conversations number 31, Coffee Talk with Eric Martinez. Doug, what's going on? We're going to have a couple firsts this episode, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
Well, I don't think you know what I'm talking about, but I don't even know what you're talking about, actually.
I have things that I think are first as well, so we'll get to them all.
Oh. So I'm pretty sure my first, Doug, is that I'm drinking water.
Wow. Okay, that is a first for the show. That is a first for the show. I mean, we drink it between beers and all that stuff, so yeah. So what's up? Why is that on something that you're not feeling the best, or what's up?
I'm up to something evil, guys.
Oh, okay. Okay. Even better.
Okay. Doug, I have engaged in a thing called intermittent fasting.
Oh, okay.
Are you knowledgeable in this area?
I know some of it, and it depends on there's a variety of different ways you can do it, and different fasting zones and all that stuff. So, how are you approaching it? If I can ask.
Yeah, 16-8, I guess, or something. So I'm just doing it for a little bit of time to see. This doesn't mean I'm done drinking beer. Doesn't mean I'm done drinking here. Doesn't mean I won't drink next week. It's just an experiment this week.
So, sure.
And yeah, so I'm kind of representing because look, it's like a spotted cow, Doug. So I get a
represent Wisconsin, baby.
Yeah, there you go. So, right. Doug, what are you enjoying?
Well, I'm going to make you a little jealous because this is a Barrel and Flow beer. So this is going to really make you jealous because it's called Stoned Fruit Peach Kush Kolsch.
Yeah, this is. Say it.
Yeah, so this is a collaboration between Vellum and Crafted for Action. Crafted for Action helped Dave sort of run a lot of the events at Barrel and Flow and like all the different conference stuff and all that stuff. So they did a fantastic job. Really good people. Really had a great time talking to them. This, I will advise you, was my second in my top 3 beers that I had there. So when you open it, it just smells like weed. Just there's no weed in it, none. There's no CBD or no THC. They're just using, let's see, so juicy peach meets resinous pine and earthy Kush dankness from King Louis the VIII Kush terps, courtesy of Abstract Hops. So apparently that hop smells like weed. So our guest is from Colorado, so you might have a little bit more experience with the weed than I do. But yeah.
Yeah, so, I'm pretty sure you smell weed out there. I think it's like the natural.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
That baby. God, it smells lovely. Greg, I only was able to snag one of these, and I'm sorry. I would have snagged more. I got to send you some. But I think you would have really dug this. I wish I'd have grabbed more of them.
That would break the fasting.
Yes. No, none of that.
No, but I don't think breaks the fast. So.
Yeah, I don't think that does either. So
there is that. So how is that, Doug? What's the? I mean,
It's
what's the verdict?
delicious. It's delicious. It's a really good Kolsch. The peach, you know how peach is like so freaking aggressive. This
Hmm?
isn't that. The peach is just a nice undertone and a note to it. Mixes really well with those Kush flavored scented hops. I've never heard King Louis the Eighth hops. I've never heard of those, but they're not hops. I guess they're saying they're from King Louis Kush terps. I don't know what that means, but at any rate, super tasty. Crafted for Action and Vellum. Very good job. So, cheers to everybody on that.
Cheers. Doug.
Yes. All right. I pointed this out to you because we had Brittle Star on a while back. What a great freaking guest he was. He's super funny. He released a book called How to Talk to Your Cats About Fascism, and he got added to the Daily Beans podcast, which is run by Allison Gill, and unfortunately the other lady, I can't see it on my screen very well. I can't remember her name, but they are a very prominent political podcast, left leaning podcast, and picked a Canadian guy to talk about cats and fascism in his book, which was really great. Really good podcast. If you can pick it up, any of your podcast apps will have it. So Dana Goldberg's the other person. Sorry, I couldn't remember her name off the top of my head. But Allison Gill goes by Mueller, she wrote, which is pretty great. So they are really good at talking politics, and they're really up on everything, and they're really current. So if you like left leaning politics, and you like, even if you don't, and you want to listen to Brittle Star, he's freaking hilarious. So yeah. So yep.
Cool. Another one, Doug, that you
Yeah, so Greg White, we had him on during the writer's strike, if you recall. He was trying to he wrote a book called the Pink Marine. And so they were trying to adapt it, and it got put on hold for Netflix because of the writer's strike. But apparently it's going to be released, I believe, later this year. So it's basically a story about being queer in the Marines. So like that's going to be really compelling and interesting. And if Greg has anything to do with it, it's going to be funny. The co-signer and I think co-producer was Norman Lear before he passed. So that's pretty big stuff. So I'm looking forward to that when it comes out.
cool. And yeah, I don't know how to introduce this one, but
Yeah.
friend literally of us and the show and of many people in the black brewery world, Jasmine was diagnosed with Jasmine from Lipco was diagnosed with a brain tumor. Y'all. This news broke minutes
I
before.
broke the day of both Great Taste and both Barrel and Flow. They dropped it that morning.
Thanks. Minutes before.
Yeah.
Open. And so yeah, this was but they found out right after the Sam Adams Brewing Dream thing. And if you go to their social media, you can see more of an explanation of the timeline of when this happened and how they're handling it. What we can do as Lipco fans is the four things they told us here, which are buy legendary liquids, which is buy Lipco, grab some merch. Um, there's a capital raise for Lipco. Also, hold on.
Sorry.
And they want you to share that post. I believe that post is from.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it was rough.
So what were the reactions of this from Baron Flow?
So I was there, obviously, and I was at the bottle share, and Drew, Jasmine husband, came up, said to me, "We have an announcement. So sorry we haven't responded because we were messaging them to try to come on the show, and they hadn't gotten back to us, but they're super busy people. So you and I don't think either of us kind of were like, oh well, that sucks. But it was more like we just figured they were very busy." And we didn't realize we didn't know anything about this. At the bottle share the night before, they brought crabs, like Maryland crabs, and had like everybody eating crabs at their table. I said that's the most Maryland shit I've ever seen.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I will tell you, Jasmine was not down, nothing, just her normal self. You know how she is. She just bubbly and happy. That's just kind of how she rolls. So she was not. She didn't look down at all. Like she looked like she was just, hey, look, I'm here. I'm doing something I love. I'm with people I care about. Like it was just a really, really good time. Even during the festival, I did see her at the Brewers Brunch the day after. Same attitude, not like just not demonstrating any sort of sadness at all. So and their triple, like they had a collab triple that was superb. Like there was some really great beers there. There's always great beers at Barrel and Flow for real, but yeah, if you folks can look for their social media stuff, you can buy merch, you can buy their beer through Wine Concierge Club. If you are fortunate enough that you have enough money that you can help with the capital raise, that's great. You can share posts, like anything, just however you can help, please do.
Yeah, so yeah, I don't have much to say.
Yeah. I will say that I was in the VIP area, and that's when I read that, and I was sitting with April and Daniel and a couple other folks, and I just said, fuck. And they were like, what? And I went, and I just didn't say anything because I was just like, I was I was still processing. I didn't know what to say or do. And then I just kind of handed my phone to them and said, take a look. And they were all just like, and April was really upset too, because April knows them really well. And so I don't know, just please support them if you can. Even if it's a matter, if you can share their stuff on social media, at least you're pushing messages out for other people who might be able to help.
Yeah. So much love to Lipko.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a lot more we can say. So just wishing them well and wishing them and sending all our love to them.
That being said, Doug, we have a fine guest tonight, and one of the things that I'm going to enjoy is the talk of coffee, and I don't know, this is one of Doug book, but I'm kind of ready for Eric Martinez, the owner of Java Groove Cafe, located in Evergreen, Colorado. He took over ownership at a coffee shop early in 2021, y'all, leaving a corporate career to pursue his dream of owning a coffee shop, which is dope. Eric and his wife moved to Evergreen, Colorado, Doug. Evergreen.
That is about the most Colorado name for a town I think I've ever heard.
Ever heard in my whole fucking life.
And my son lives in Colorado, and I don't think I've ever heard a more Colorado name than that. So,
yeah. So he's passionate about the coffee, and we'll get into that. He sees coffee, Doug, as a love language.
I can see that. If you've ever sseen his TikTok,
you can see that. Okay. I'm not making those connections, but I want those dots connected. Anyway, he aims to make his coffee place a welcoming, community focused place. Also, he's incorporated a family perspective into the business. And that's interesting given, we got families, Doug. I mean, everybody has families, but we raised a bunch of kids or whatever in our time. Um, so also, y'all, before so we have all that to talk about. Now he's also ventured into acting, y'all.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's an actor, and he was in a movie called Mocha and Mistletoe. It was filmed in his hometown. And he also is cast in another movie we'll talk about. So I don't know, Doug. Without further ado, I think it's time for us to welcome our friend Eric and see what's in his cup, because I'm not sure I think he's gonna be like me. He's not drinking any beer.
I'm gonna assume, but we'll see.
But does he have coffee though? Is what I want to
know. I don't know. We'll see.
Oh, Doug, you do. I think you do this because we go.
What's up, Eric?
How you doing? What's going on?
How you doing, gentlemen?
What's going on? Yeah.
Welcome to the show, man. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah. So I want to also add that
first question is,
start with, I met Eric through Dad Bloggers Group. So
Dad 2.0.
Yeah, Dad 2.0, man. So those roots run deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ask him what he's drinking.
Oh, you want me to ask? The question. What are you drinking tonight? If you're drinking anything, what are you having?
Yeah. So I have a Diet Coke. So sorry to disappoint.
No disappointment, none at all. We are always saying drink what you like. So
that's an upgrade from water.
Yeah.
But I got you in the cup though, I'm pretty sure. Like my spotted cow cup.
Yeah.
Y'all can't beat that. Y'all can't beat that.
Yeah, I agree.
What also we can't beat is Doug's first question for you, Eric. How you doing?
How you doing? That's my first. I thought that was yours. You were like, yeah. So all right, hey Eric. So we're going to start a bit with the coffee thing. So what the heck? I'm going to say possessed you to be like, I'm going to move to Evergreen, Colorado with my wife and kids. We're going to leave, and I think you guys were in California, correct?
So we were 2 moves before Colorado, but we can get to that.
Okay. So what inspired you to be like, I'm going to own a coffee shop in Colorado? What kind of drove you to that? Because that's a big leap.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people definitely have assumed that I'm an insane person, but no, really, what the driving force for that was. So we moved to Colorado because we wanted to be in Colorado. So we moved around a little bit. My wife and I are both from New Jersey originally. And after college and everything, we actually did move out to California, and we lived in San Diego for just about 13 years. And did like San Diego, did like the young couple thing, right? And our son was born out there. And when our daughter was on the way, we were like, oh, we'll move back east and be closer to the village and the grandmas and, all of the extended family and all that stuff. And so we did that. And at the time I had this corporate gig, and they didn't have an office in Jersey, but they had one in Maryland. So we landed in Maryland at that time. About a year after we got there, it was COVID and shutdowns and all that stuff, right? So we started dealing with that and had a little bit of just like, all right, like let's have this family meeting and figure out, what do we really want? Where do we really want to live? What's the life that we want to live, And Colorado was always on our list of just beautiful places that we think we could see ourselves and all of that. And my wife and I were like, well, there's no time like now. So we packed up the kids and we drove from Maryland to Colorado. And really lucked into a place to stay. So sight unseen, found this family that was renting their house here in Evergreen, and they were renting their place because they had a federal gig in Maryland. So I was calling this family and I was like, hey, I want to rent your house in Evergreen. And I realized I'm sitting 30 minutes from them in Maryland, having this conversation about renting their house 2,000 miles away. So very serendipitous in that way. So we landed in Maryland. We were renting this house for a while, and probably I mean, not even 6 months after being here, just like fell in love with everything, fell in love with the community, with the access to nature. Just everything about this community is just like what we wanted. So with that feeling, I was also still working this corporate job that was, very slowly extracting my soul from my body. And I just knew that I wanted something else. I knew that I wanted my own business in some way. I didn't know exactly what that was going to look like, but I was very open to that. And my eyes were aware of those opportunities. So a little bit after being here, this cafe that is in downtown Evergreen, their owners wanted to retire. So they put it up for sale. And there's kind of a long story about how I found out about that. We can get into that if you want. But basically, once I found out about it, I, put in an offer or whatever. And, a month later, there we were. And I, and within like 60 days, I like quit my corporate job and became a small town coffee shop owner.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes it works that way, right? So
Yeah.
I just, were you always interested in coffee? Is that just Java Dad Life is kind of your ID, so I'm assuming so, but.
Yeah, mostly just as a fan, right? So I was just someone who enjoyed coffee, but I was not someone who was super well versed in all things coffee. And that's how this like naturally led me to owning a coffee shop. It was more important to me to have a space in a community that was operating like a third space, and we can get into the whole third spaces thing, but that was more important to me than specifically it being a coffee shop. But then once I really got into it, I started valuing coffee for what it is as well. And like you mentioned in the lead up about how I view it like as a love language, I view it as a connector. I view it in this way where when we have coffee, say we have that coffee that we brew for ourselves in the morning, and we're sitting there on our deck or in our bedrooms or wherever, on our kitchen counters, and we're having that moment to connect with ourselves, right? So we do that over coffee. And then we go out and we go to the cafe and we call up our friend and we say, hey, I'll meet you at the cafe. Let's have a coffee. And you sit down and you connect with your friend over coffee, right? So I look at it as this medium for connection,
For sure.
And how does that shape the atmosphere at Java Groove?
I think it's primary, the three things that I talk about and on this right here, coffee, kindness, community, that's my whole thing. And I think that's really important that everybody who walks through the doors, I want them to understand that we are genuinely happy to see you and you belong, because I feel like sometimes that's lacking, in broader spaces and in public spaces. And I want everybody to understand, like, you belong here and I'm happy to see you. And so like again, the connection over coffee, I even, I have like t-shirts that I make, right? And they say all kinds of things or whatever. But one of the things that they say is lead with kindness, because I believe that too. And, so coffee, kindness, and community is the other piece of that, when we talk about like the idea of the third space, about where people can gather in their community that isn't school or work or home, right? So those things I think are just, they drive what I do at the cafe.
Yeah. Do you mind talking about and elaborating more about the third space idea?
Yes, please.
Yeah. So the idea about third spaces is that, most people have two primary spaces, their home and their work and or school, right? There's their first two spaces. And that's where they spend most of their time. That's where they make their connections, have their interactions socially, like at work or school, right? The third space, which is kind of a lost art, but definitely still exists, is another place where people can gather, where you can have those connections with people. So good third spaces are coffee shops, libraries, parks, community centers. So different places where people gather to connect with other members of their community that isn't their home or their work or their school.
Yeah, we could put some breweries in there too, and just because like some place where people can go and just meet with folks. So yeah, I think I love the idea that you're really talking about third spaces, because that's, like you said, that is a lost thing in our society, and we were not doing well with that, and then COVID hit, and I think COVID really kind of fucked a lot of that up. So yeah, Greg, anything else on that? Sorry.
Oh, I mean, Eric wants to talk about random acts of coffee.
Yeah, that's another thing. Just talking about the vibe and what I'm trying to do there. So we have this board up at the cafe, and we call it Random Acts of Coffee. So obviously, that's a play on Random Acts of Kindness, and it's a pay it forward board. So anybody can come in and put $5-10 or whatever on the board, and we put a receipt on the board. So there's all these little pieces of paper on that board. Anybody can walk in, grab something off the board, and come up to the cashier and say, I'd like coffee and a breakfast burrito. No questions asked. We just put that into the drawer and we make it for them. And that's right in line with what I'm trying to say about, like, no matter where you were before you walked through the front doors of the cafe, you belong here and I see you, right? And so those random acts of coffee, I think, are really important for what we're trying to do.
So to that point, Greg, go ahead. I have something after you.
No, you're going to play on that point. I was going to say, Doug, please.
Yeah. So the reason I want to play on that point is because I remember, and if anybody who doesn't want, you follow him on TikTok as well, because he does some truly, really empathetic, community-minded stuff on there, and it's really great to watch because we could use more of that. And just however things are going now, whichever way you lean, I mean, what we think kind of has been online pretty vocally. But there was one I remember specifically where there was a woman who was coming into your cafe and pretty clearly homeless, or was trying to get herself on her feet somehow. And I can't remember the actual story. And, that whole Random Acts of Coffee really helped her. I remember you were talking very heartfelt about how that made you feel very happy that you were able to provide a space for her to feel safe. And, the idea of feeling safe is difficult in these times. So, like, I'm not sure I'm asking a question here, if that makes sense. I'm just trying to get to the point, like, when you're talking about stuff like, I think I'm doing the TikTok thing. I'm not on Instagram as much. So you probably follows 2 weeks after TikTok on Instagram. But anyway, the idea of, like, you being very vociferous about being community based, you're welcome here. All are welcome here. Can you talk a bit more about that bit with your space specifically? Like you did a little bit, but I really want to blow that out and learn more about that, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. And, I do remember that story and that particular person. And, I won't give away too much of their personal information or all that, but I will just share with you, Doug, she got housing. So that's a cool ending to that little, story. So, the space, we have it set up where, part of it is, like cafe style, like tables and chairs or whatever. And there's also a little couch section, where people can really just hang out. And the other piece about being welcoming, yes, it's to all people who are experiencing all walks of life, but also the thing about families, we also have a little play area for kids, and we have toys and puzzles and board games and stuff like that. And that's really important to me as well, is making sure that those parents who are coming in, and this actually gets me a little emotional to talk about, because these things came together. I remember this family came in, this mom and her kids, and she didn't say anything. And every time someone walks in the door, if I'm there, and like the staff usually does this too, I'll say, welcome in. Hey, how you doing? Like from the door, right? I'm talking to them. And I remember she like was very, very sheepish and just like kind of walked in with her kids. And the Random Acts of Coffee board is to the side of the front counter. So you kind of have to walk up to the counter and then you bend to the side to pick something off the board. And she kind of just like smiled a little bit and kept her head down and then walked over to the board with her kids and just sat there for a little bit and looked at it and then took a couple things off and brought it up to me and then asked for, you know, kids pancakes and French toast and something for herself or whatever. Right. And we made this family breakfast, and then they got their breakfast, and then they took some of the games from the game area and they sat down at a table and they're sitting, God, I'm going to get emotional talking about this. And they're sitting there at their table and they're playing their games and they're eating their breakfast. And that was on the kindness of strangers, you know, and it was just such a beautiful moment.
That's going to make me teary-eyed, dude. Seriously.
Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah,
So,
I know, but
No, it's all good. It's all good. Over there, y'all, is Eric's TikTok.
Me.
And Doug, it appears as we're live on TikTok. We're famous.
Yeah.
somehow, okay.
Yeah.
Right. Probably
Probably you.
way more people than ever see us ever in our whole existence of life, Doug. But it's all good.
For sure.
We're good.
Yeah.
We got a coffee guy here. So you know,
Yeah,
of course,
let's get into it.
that's always fun. Let's get to the coffee a little bit, if you don't mind, Eric. So are there any so I love coffee. I love it all. I love it all. I really do. Are there any coffee trends or new brewing methods that you're currently exploring or considering at Java? And how do you stay on the front edge of a market that is just wild as far as innovation and just competition too? I feel, maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, there was a double big old question in there.
Yeah. I mean, well, I can start with the last one as far as competition goes. Like, sure. Just my personal ethos though is like I'm not really a you know, there's only a certain amount of slices in the pie person. So I just try and make my place the best that it can be. And yeah, there's a few other coffee shops in town, but I don't really look at them as competition per se. You know, maybe they disagree, but that's how I feel about it. But that said, yeah, I mean, there are, yeah, people come in all the time. It's funny we're talking about TikTok because a lot of people come in and be like, "Hey, I saw this on TikTok. Can you make it?" And so we experiment with the customers all the time. I give a lot of free reign to the baristas to come up with different types of specials and drinks every month, and they do all kinds of fun stuff. Like, I will admit, I'm so basic with my coffee. Like, I love vanilla lattes and I drink them every day. So that's kind of my thing. But I do have these super creative baristas who are coming up with all kinds of funky things all the time. And when you start with really good coffee, you know, we use Ely, which is an Italian brand, and their espresso. I tasted all kinds of espresso when we took over, and I kept coming back to them. So when you start with that really good coffee, you can do all kinds of creative things with it and still come out with like a really yummy drink.
Let me jump in here real quick, Doug. Sourcing your coffee is important. Can you give us the basics around that?
Yeah, so it's funny, we had to make a change recently, not because I wanted to, but because the roaster shut down. But we were partnered with a roaster based out of Denver here called Purple Door, and they were a nonprofit who, interestingly enough, worked with the homeless community, and they would employ people at the roastery to help them in their operations to get them a job. So I partnered with them, and they were sourcing everything for us, and they were roasting it for us and then packaging it and sending it up. So up until a few months ago, that was my partner. And then they closed their doors. They closed the roaster, and I didn't necessarily, I didn't pry into what led to that decision, but they had to shut it down. So there was luckily a bigger roaster that had already been helping them in some of their process and again, in some of their sourcing and some of their roasting. So they just kind of took the ball. And so now they're my partner, essentially doing the same thing. They aren't officially a nonprofit, but they do have a huge charitable arm. So I like to make sure that whoever I'm partnered with is kind of in that world and at least trying to pay something forward in what they're doing.
For sure. That's great. So coffee questions, folks, bring them. If JT is still in here, you are a coffee guy like through and through. So I'm really interested if he has any more questions. But yeah. So while we're waiting for questions, I'm going to jump in with my second beer. Greg, I'm going to make you jealous again. I apologize. You know what that one is? Zinga beer from Black Viking, baby.
Viking Zinga beer from fresh Zinga
So
beer.
Yeah, so this is I know you don't drink, Eric, but this is a ginger beer. Not a ginger beer, but it's an alcoholic beer with ginger in it. How about that? That's a better way to say it.
Yeah.
So it's super drinkable. I mean, even if you have regular ginger beer that's non-alcoholic, that stuff's super tasty too. So, but this is just a regular beer with it. So, yeah. Daniel had that with me when we were at Barrel and Flow. So, yeah. Cheers. Oh, that's a great question, Lauren. Oh my God. You want me to pop it up, Greg? Here we go.
Now, I have not experienced that to be true. I feel like the inverse of that maybe is more common than
You might be right.
than the other. But
Wow, I didn't know there was infighting, Doug.
No, I mean, we don't discriminate. I mean, we have all kinds of herbal teas and stuff at the cafe, so I don't see that, but I have seen it elsewhere.
Yeah, that's so in my house, just to be clear, I don't drink caffeinated coffee because 4 years ago I had a heart attack and I've just been kind of avoiding a lot on caffeine. Because caffeine makes my heart feel like a drummer's playing on it from Motley Crue or something like that. So, but my wife and I drink quite a bit of tea, like especially at night if we're looking for something to drink. So we just like, hey, let's have a tea, and so we have a variety of ones. So I don't find that for coffee drinkers, but I think tea drinkers are really defensive. I think you might be right there.
I know it is funny. Sometimes people will come in and they want to announce it, or they're just like, I don't drink coffee. I'm like, okay, like I promise you, we can still take care of you. Like I promise.
This is a good question too. I don't know if you can see it, Eric.
Ooh, yeah, I can see it, and that's a tough one because I know the first thing that your doctor tells you is to cut back on coffee when you have reflux, and I'm not going to go against your doctor's advice. I don't have a good answer because I actually don't know the mechanism about why that is. I know, obviously coffee has an acid, base and stuff like that. So it can be irritating for anyone who suffers from reflux, but I don't have the answer for that one, unfortunately.
Yeah. Would you say that though, let's say you do have reflux, you're sensitive to it. Are you going to go lighter roast, medium, dark roast? What? So I've heard like varying things on all of that. Like I heard so I prefer dark roast because I like the hard roasty flavor.
Yeah.
That's what I like. But I know that people be like, well, if you want real caffeine, let's say you want caffeine, you're going to be better served with like your medium and light roast.
Yeah.
Well, explain a bit to us about that part.
Yeah. So the whole roasting thing, you're right about that. So the longer you roast it, the more that you're going to take out of it. So the light roast, it sounds counterintuitive because people think like dark, like I want the tar in my veins or whatever, right? Like give me all that. But the darker it is, like you said, you're going to get that flavor, but you're not getting as much caffeine as you would in the lighter roasts. So there could be something to that. And again, I am completely speculating. Like this is not medical advice.
Yeah, no medical advice being done here.
Yeah, maybe the darker roast would be better if you were worried about that, from a reflux perspective. But again, I don't know.
So there's the old Java Brew Cafe. How far is Evergreen from like Colorado Springs?
From Springs, we're about an hour and a half.
Okay, that's where my son lives, in that general area. So I'm just curious because So my son who lives there, so yeah, cupping events. That sounds like the stuff where you see the people who are in sports where they get the cupping where it, like
Yeah.
And I was like, is that what you're talking about? I'm a little confused.
No, because it's basically like a tasting and all of that. And I will admit, and I should have said this from the beginning, right? I'm in this more for the community than the aspects of all the science of the coffee. So if I can't answer something, that's just why, because I haven't dived into that part of it. But my understanding for these events, like you go through whoever you're sourcing your beans through, and there's different connections that you can make with roasters to go to those tastings and all that stuff.
Okay. I'd also like, let's see, put this one up because this is a good question too.
Oh, for someone else.
Yeah. Not for yourself.
Yeah. Again, mine's boring, but you know, it's fun making.
It's not boring if you fucking like it. That's not boring.
That's fair. And I say stuff like that to people all the time. So thank you for checking me on that. I like making cappuccinos for people. I like getting that real good foam in the milk and topping your espresso off with that. So they're fun to make.
That's sort of satisfying for you to make those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah. All right. So all right. I'm gonna try to figure out how to ask a decaf question because I am very simple. Like when I make my coffee at home, I have a little tiny shitty burr grinder that I use for beans, and then I just do a French press. And I know it's fairly basic, but I also mix like turbinados, sugar, and regular milk. That's what I make every day. I'm fairly a creature of habits, so that's kind of my go-to. And my wife, I do a pour over for, and I'm a nerd. I like to make my wife coffee every day.
That's great. I love that.
So. If you're going to do something like, I know you're not a person who'd be derisive of folks who want decaf. So,
right.
Is there a decaf drink that you think is really interesting and good? That I'm thinking very basic. What is a decaf drink that I could do or order somewhere that would be interesting and fun to do? That's not what I do, because I just do something really simple.
Yeah, I mean, just like with the espresso beans that we use, I also did a lot of tasting of decaf espresso beans, and I think like the one we landed on is pretty good. And I say pretty good because anything that's decaf to me doesn't taste quite right. But I understand if you drink decaf, but you can get a really good decaf espresso. And you can make yourself something like a really nice drink. You can make yourself a macchiato or a latte or something with a really good decaf espresso base.
Yeah, I actually use espresso beans for my coffee grind. Like, I don't make an espresso. I just use the beans because I like the dark roast. It's just funny because I've done the decaf ones with the regular beans, and I don't enjoy it as much.
Yeah.
But it's the idea that I could do other things. That's what I'm trying to figure out, because I would like to, if I'm going somewhere, I'm like, I'll just have a decaf with milk and sugar. And it's dumb. I shouldn't feel like I'm being judged, but I feel like I am, because I'm one decaf, and two, I'm doing like, here's milk and sugar, like a 75-year-old man. And so, yeah.
No, it's tough to branch out too much at home because you need the equipment, so you need the better steam one that's on the bigger machines and all of that to do fancier things with your milk and all that. But like I don't do a pour over at the cafe just because it takes too much time, right? So that's stuff you can do at home that maybe we don't do out in the commercial places.
Yeah. So we have a few other questions. Let me get back here. Sorry, that's going to thing. So let's start with something that's not as positive. What's the most annoying without calling out any of your customers? What's the most annoying?
Matcha.
Matcha.
Yeah. So matcha tea. It just you can do it a couple different ways. We admittedly cheat a little bit and we use a mix as a base, but even that is it doesn't like to mix that well into your milk or your water, and it takes some time to make. So if you're in a rush and somebody asks for a oat milk matcha with honey and lavender or whatever, you're just like your eye might twitch a little bit and be like, all right, give me a minute.
All right, so that was a good one. Let me give it. This one. This is a good question too. This is Lauren Yee. So if you're not sure, so I know you.
Yeah.
I believe you know Lauren. So
yeah hi, Lauren.
So as a coffee shop owner, what is it about coffee shop that you think brings people together, like actual community? Because that's very important to you. So how do you think that works specifically in your coffee shop?
Yeah, well, I think the shop matters. I think the location matters for that, right? If you're walking into Starbucks or wherever, right? I don't necessarily think that they operate that well as third spaces. I don't think that they're actually fostering actual community. But I think these things that I focus on and the things that I'm talking about, we're having a very inviting space for making sure it's very clear to everybody that they belong. We're having those pay it forward things, having community events. We do that a lot. We hold events for different groups all the time, like after hours. Hey, you need a meeting space for your group, for your gaming, nightly Thursday, game board night or whatever, like all that stuff. Like, I think that stuff is how you foster the actual community in a space like that.
Yeah. So next question here is from Greg. For some reason, he's commenting instead of actually being in here asking this. What are your hopes for the future of the Java Brew Cafe? What do you want to? Listen, we live in a capitalist society, and it feels like you're not really in it to just be super capitalist. I feel like you're doing it to grow things. So what's your hope for the future of this?
Right. But like you said, we do live in one. So I'm not immune from, the capitalist influence and all of that. So obviously, I want the cafe itself to just be successful, right? I want it to be an institution for my town. So admittedly, and I've talked about this on my social media and stuff like that, it is very challenging from a financial perspective because of you can say whatever you want. You can talk about what's going on in the broader, political space and all of that stuff. But things cost more than they've ever cost ever. Right. Mm-hmm. So we feel that at the cafe. So my near term is just, hey, I just want to make sure that we're always here. That's what I want. Right. I want to always be there. And then we can talk about the other things. And, I want to do more community events. I want to maybe branch out to other. Maybe we get a coffee truck, right? Maybe we do we get a little spot in a different, different shopping center or whatever, right? Like, sure, we'd love to do those things, but my primary thing is just making sure we're always available for the community and we're always there.
Yeah. So I have another question here. Well, actually, first a comment from JT. He was listening the whole time. So. And JT is like an admitted coffee nerd. Like he goes takes classes to learn how to make the best coffee. He buys very premium beans. Like he is really into it. And so basically he's talking about how he's a coffee nerd talking processing method grind, but I love the community stuff I'm hearing even more. So let's satisfy JT's need here for what is the grind method you use? Like, do you use a burr grinder? Like, I know shit about all of this. The burr grinder just told me that was the best grinder, and I didn't want to hand grind it, so I bought some shitty Chefman, like $14 burr grinder. So I feel like I'm hey, here I am doing the fancy stuff. So what do you think?
Yeah, that's funny. And JT, I'm sure that you know more than I do, frankly. Again, I joke about it all the time that I own a coffee shop, but I'm not a barista. I will readily admit that. So I know enough about coffee to run the cafe and get myself in trouble with people who really know coffee. So I'm probably going to get myself in trouble. But we have commercial big burr grinders. That's what we use, and we have different ones for. Obviously, you have to grind your espresso at a different level than you grind your drip. So we make sure that we calibrate that. every morning. You got to tweak it just a little bit because it's crazy, especially in the mountains. Even the barometric pressure can mess with your grind.
Really?
It's very frustrating because a weather pattern will come in, and I'll come in the morning and I think that like it's already dialed in from yesterday. We're good. And then I go and I pull my shot and it runs twice as long or twice as short as it should. And I'm just like,
shit,
damn it. And then I go back and I adjust the grinder.
Greg, would you have ever thought that the barometric pressure, or like, I would have not in a million years thought that would affect that shit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's crazy, especially here. I mean, the cafe sits where we are in downtown Evergreen, Colorado, is 7,220 feet above sea level. So
that's way too high.
You feel it.
That's way too high.
That's too high.
This is kind of where we're at too.
Ooh.
You are going to get some coffee nerds jumping in here, Eric. Sorry, man.
That's tough because any one of those can really, really affect your coffee. Like, really though, because you know where it's grown is going to affect the flavor, right? For sure, obviously. But then if your grind is wrong, then your brew time is going to be wrong, and it's not going to steep as long as it should have, and you're not going to get as much coffee flavor in there. And then obviously the roast we were talking about earlier, right? Light to dark, and you're going to get different notes the way that you roast it. And the temperature of water, again, that's kind of the same thing where it affects the steep process. So literally any one of those can greatly affect the flavor of your coffee.
I know the heat also affects tea. Like that I learned from watching British motherfuckers on TikTok yelling at me for making my shit too hot. But so
yeah, and Eric, I can confirm that beers like this too. There's a myriad of factors that come out in your beer, and it's not they're just different factors than what's here. But yeah. Doug. Here's another great question.
Oh, latte art. So, I fail so hard at latte art. Oh my god. So it's one of those things like you have to dedicate yourself to learning it. Like you have to practice it and you have to keep doing it. And every time I'm like, all right, I'm gonna get it. And then I'll do it for like a week and then just life blows up. And then I go right back to the drawing board. So I am terrible at this. I have had many super talented baristas come through who can make all kinds of beautiful things on top of your latte. I am not one of them.
Wait, you have a photo of bad Walmart. Hold on.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, great. Go back to your question. Sorry, I just wanted to share that because that was funny.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. There are definitely some things that you squint sideways and you're like, is this appropriate to hand out to a customer? Because it's looking kind of like something else. So
yeah. Sorry, Greg. Pop up your question again there.
Oh. So we've done things where, yes, we've made recommendations with certain food things, but more again, it's more surface level. It's not very nuanced where we will just have something where just like, hey, if you this goes well with bacon, you know what I mean? Like that type of thing. So we're not necessarily coming up with these like a wine pairing when you go to a restaurant, something like that. But we've had fun with it. So.
All right. Doug, it looks like you cleaned up all the coffee questions, right? I think, right?
There was a lot.
Yeah, coffee is, man, Eric, you are younger than us, but you remember a time where coffee just wasn't what it is today. Let's just flat out.
Like, here's your Folgers and enjoy that shit.
Coffee to me was gas station coffee. Like that's the image that coffee gets. Like that's literally was peak 40 years ago or some shit.
And that was it. Everybody just drank the same gas station coffee.
Yeah, and now coffee is just a wonderful smorgasbord of options.
Right.
For sure.
It really is. And it's just wonderful and great. And it turns out that, one of the things I love the most in the world is beer. And, coffee is very beer-ish. There's a lot of connections there. And one of them is community, like you talked about. There is a community there with coffee. So it's just great. Some of my favorite places in the world, or I'm sorry, some of my favorite breweries in the world, Eric, are breweries that also have a coffee roaster either in-house or they work really, really close with one.
Yeah.
We have Copper State and Venture here in Wisconsin, among others. We have Bodie Howe too. And they're just all excellent what they do. And it's great.
I did a partnership with a brewery here, and I gave them my beans, and they created this like super cool and forgive me because I'm not as well versed on that side of things, but it wasn't a stout because everyone does a coffee stout. And the brewmaster, he's like, we're not doing a stout. He's like, we're going to do something different. And it wound up being like, it was like a pale, and it was this beautiful. It smelled amazing, but I didn't drink it. But everyone told me that it was really good. So I've done partnerships with breweries as well.
Do you remember the names of those breweries? You can shout them out.
Yeah. That was with Lariat Lodge, which is a local one here in Evergreen.
Lariat Lodge Brewing in Evergreen, Colorado.
Yeah.
Jesus. Could you be more Coloradan?
I know.
Jesus. Oh man. So
it enables to, especially these breweries with the beer and the coffee. And here in Wisconsin, it enables them to be open all day. And it also makes it a situation where they're almost like two different businesses under the same. It's really, really an interesting dynamic, but the flavors are just amazing. So, is this in my shirt? Morning coffee, afternoon beer.
Nice.
So, that's where I stand. So, Doug, we're gonna be wrapping up the coffee questions here. So if y'all have any more, get them in. I mean, actually, we can come back, no worries. But we have other stuff.
I have one from JT. Just one more before we move on, because I think this is an interesting question. Yeah, that's a great question.
That is a great question, and I can't answer it. My understanding is like that you do need more training to do it well. Like I said, we just had fun with it, and we were like, this kind of has like this chocolatey note, so we think we're gonna put it with bacon. Like that's literally all we did.
Yeah, so that's that can get really granular there. So
yeah,
this is funny.
All right, I harped on this Coloradan thing, so this is the natural progression.
I love that. I don't even.
Well, we don't sell Subarus, so. But
I thought that was a Vermont thing, but apparently a Coloradan thing too. So.
Oh, you have no idea.
And my brother-in-law just bought a Subaru too, so you're right.
See. Oh my gosh, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure what the most Colorado thing is. It is fun to see the most Colorado behavior in the cafe where people come in and they've just done their, they just come down off of a 14er, which, if you don't know, is a 14,000 foot mountain, right?
Yep.
And they
I know.
Yeah. And
I
they
couldn't
just
breathe when I was at 12,000. I was like,
right.
I've never
done and they'll just come down off their hike and they come all the way down to 7,000 and they stop in the cafe and they're wearing all their gear and they're just like, hey, can I get a Americano? And then they sit there and decompress and I was like, oh, this is a very Colorado moment.
It's like when someone gets to Ben's and they're coming.
Right.
They're coming up.
Right.
All righty. And we end the coffee section with a Colorado question. That was
beautiful.
That works.
Yeah, Lauren. They're tall.
They're very tall.
Very tall. Very tall. So I'm gonna just say one thing about the 14ers. We drove up to this one that was like 12,000. So 14 is 14,000 feet. So yeah, Adam, this is my brother-in-law. My other brother-in-law, Aaron, lives in Colorado and just did a 14er last weekend.
Amazing.
Like hiking.
Yeah, like, and that's why he has the 14er icon, right? Yeah. Or that's
Adam lives in Ohio. He doesn't even live in Colorado. There's no 14ers in Ohio.
Yeah, but look, zero. The visual of all that is so amazing going on there.
For sure.
Anyway.
For sure. So anyway, we drove up to a 12,000 or 12,000. So again, understand, I have a heart condition. So we're driving up and it's difficult for me to breathe. And I thought I was having a heart problem.
Yeah.
And then I realized, oh yeah, I'm really high up and I am not used to breathing air that is really thin. I honestly was like really stressing out. I was texting my wife who was sitting in the front seat. I'm in the back seat, like, what the hell is going on? Am I going to die in this back seat? And it's just because I was,
Oh yeah. No, it's real. It can be really uncomfortable. Just a real quick story. When we did that drive from Maryland to Colorado, that was the first time that I had been really in elevation as well. And we don't have tours. That's great. I love that. But when we got to Colorado, we actually stayed in the Springs at Garden of the Gods. It was amazing, right?
Which is a cool place.
I used to do this nightly kind of like push-up routine or whatever, right? And at that time, I actually was still drinking as well. So I got to the hotel, I had a beer, went up to our room, and I was like, I'm gonna do my push-ups. And I got down on the floor and I literally did two push-ups and the room started to spin. And I just sat there on the floor and I sat against the edge of the bed. And my wife was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "I don't know." No. I don't know. And I just sat there for like 30 minutes until everything stopped spinning. I realized because I was trying to exert myself at elevation and I was an idiot and I didn't know better.
It's nuts. Yeah.
All right, y'all. You good on the coffee? Are y'all all amped up on your coffee, Doug? Now?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but you don't get amped up on yours. You do decaf.
No, I don't. Mine is purely for comfort. I love a hot cup of coffee. Mm-hmm. I just love it. I love it in the summer. I don't want cold brew. I want none of that. Give me a fucking piping hot cup of coffee all the time.
Wait. Hold the fuck on. You're gonna act like, hold on. You're over there acting like cold brew isn't comforting. You need to get the fuck out.
Not for me. Not for me. It's not.
I don't care.
It can be for you. I'm not shitting on you. I'm saying don't shit out of it.
Don't take your anecdotal evidence and smear it everywhere, Doug. Okay.
Cold brew is comforting.
Cold brew is comforting. That chill just gives you that comforting chill. It's shut up, Doug. Apparently, y'all want to talk about this. The guest first, please.
Yes, please.
So this is the movie poster for Mocha and Mistletoe.
That's not.
That's not right there. There we go.
Oh, that. Oh, this. Let's talk about this too. We can talk about both. So we'll tell the Mocha and Mistletoe.
We'll start here.
Oh yeah. Well, we want to start with what the actor is watching.
Yeah.
And then we'll get to what the actor is acting.
Yeah. About. So K-pop Demon Hunters. Let's go. So it's so funny because this has just taken over. It's taken over my house, and I know it's taken over many households. And I will stand on it that this is one of, if not the best movies of the year. And I'm not just talking about animated movies. I'm not talking about kids movies. I'm talking about movies at all. It's one of the best movies of the year. And you can see I'm not alone with these ratings on there. I mean, the music, the animation, the imagery, the moral, the lessons, the silliness, the jokes, like the action, like, I mean, I love this movie, and I'm going to be 44 in October, and I will stand on it that I will watch this movie and listen to the soundtrack all by my damn self. So,
yeah, so my daughter, who is 20, was like, "Let's watch this movie," and I was like, "All right," and I was very low expectations.
great.
I'm like, great, and it was good. The music's super catchy and poppy, and so it was really good. And the moral of it is really great. Again, my daughter's not the demographic. The demographic is much more like tween, maybe even lower than that. But oh my goodness, yeah, I have watched it. Lauren asked, "How many times have you watched it?" I have only watched it once, but the music sticks in my brain for eternity. It's just super poppy and catchy.
Yeah.
Greg is someone who likes pop music. You would actually enjoy this just for the music, I think.
Yeah. I mean, really, the music. I mean, one of the songs from this is the #1 song on the top 100 for Billboard right now. From this,
is it soda pop or golden?
It's golden, which is crazy. A fictional K-pop band. The music. They have all, I think there's, I forget what it is. There's like 10 songs or whatever that are in this, and they're all in the top 40. All of them. like it's bonkers. Like the soundtrack is so good. I mean, watching the movie, I've probably seen it with my kids, call it 10 times, but the music, we've listened to it in the car every time we've been in the car for the last 2 months. So I don't even know how many times I've listened to the soundtrack.
That sounds fun. Is this a long ass movie, Doug?
No, it's like an hour and 35 minutes. It's short.
Oh, that's my attention span. Okay, cool. And where do we find this?
It's on Netflix. Yeah.
That sounds good. All right. So we'll go to mine next, and then we'll get to Doug's at the end there. Doug, right? Literally right before I got on this stream here, y'all, I watched the first episode and I couldn't turn it off, and I started watching the second episode. And this shit is weird and goofy and funny as hell and interesting as hell too. There's a lot of things going on with this one. Doug, have you ever seen Peacemaker?
No, I have not. So it's one of the things like, man, I should probably watch that. That looks pretty interesting and fun. So yeah, I think John Cena is the main dude, right?
Yeah,
he's the main dude. Eric, have you seen Peacemaker?
I haven't watched it, but I've seen his character in God. What did they introduced Peacemaker in a different one, but I can't remember which one it was. One of the team up ones.
I'm new to this Marvel or DC Marvel, all of it. Like my kids are finally older, Eric. They're like adults now. Yeah. So then I can engage in my own media and not be shoved down Bluey or whatever the
Bluey.
whatever the kid phenomenon of the year is. You know what I mean? Like for me, it was actually Blue's Clues, but I'm aging myself there. But whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like you get more liberty when your kids get older. You're like, oh my god, I can watch what I want to watch now. So yeah, I don't know, dog. This one I may binge in like 2 hours or something.
I think it may take a little longer than 2 hours because there's a whole season, maybe 2 seasons if I remember right. So
it's coming into a second season, and it only has like 8 shows, and they're only 40 minutes, so it could be 7 hours, Doug, if you have to be all technical.
Well, it's no Supernatural, thankfully.
Yeah, I ain't fucking with that though. You're wild like that.
No, I watched 1 season. My wife is on to the end of the second season. I'm like, good on you, because I'm not watching 22 episodes every year.
You're still
an hour long.
You're still wild though, so don't deny that shit.
Well, that was a
So
commitment I made to the Hop Geeks news folks. So
whatever, dude. I'm just telling you, you're wild. You can argue and whatever about it all you want. I really don't give a fuck. I'm just telling you the facts. So anyway, what else is weird, Doug, is this movie, but it's also pretty fun. Nobody.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, it's fun. And I don't know, man. This guy's pretty good at what he does. Mr. Bob Odenkirk. He's fucking excellent. Odenkirk. I'm horrible with names. Yeah. That Better Call Saul guy, that sleazy ass fucking lawyer dude. Nobody is fun, and the new movie comes out today. So Nobody 2. So I'm going on Tuesday. So I will have updates about that. But yeah, it was fun. It lives up to its ratings here. So real quick on this one, Doug and I both seen it, but we're also both going to wait until talk about it because it's kind of really spoiler hard at this point. If you talk about it, but also we'll have Chuck Wendig on next week, who I'm pretty sure will have some kind of perspective on this, which should be very fascinating, much more fascinating than Doug and I could ever really talk about. Eric, have you seen Weapons? Are you interested in horror? What do you like? I saw you moved there. What was going on?
Yeah, no, I want to see that, but kind of like you were talking about, I don't really have the opportunity to see that right now. But I've been hearing a lot about it, and I do want to see it.
Yeah, so we will reserve our discussion on that for next time, since Eric, you hadn't seen it. Yeah,
right. But Doug and I think you should see it. How about that? We'll at least give you that. I could say that. Right, I could say that. So I think Doug thinks that we should see this one, but I don't know, Doug. I saw the previews because I didn't know what the hell anybody was talking about, and it was kind of talking about in a couple threads. And then I saw the previews, and I was like, "Wait, what the fuck was that?" And it was this.
Yes. So this is basically the precursor to Alien, like the very first movie. Supposedly, this is the precursor to that. So the first episode, I started watching this at like 7, thinking I could fit in the first 2 episodes that have been released. I was wrong. I fit in the first one, and I'm like, okay, well, I have to prep for getting ready for the show, so I could only watch the first one. First one's great. It is a really, really excellent pilot episode. And it's not just centered on the aliens. Like, it's not centered on them, which is cool because, like, you're expecting it to be all centered on because they're terrifying and just really gross and like all that, but like I'm really looking forward to watching the second episode. So like I said, I haven't watched second episode. Might take a freaking dive. I don't know. The first episode was really excellent, but I'm like, we were in another thread, and one of our friends, Manny, was like, I like both of them. I'm like, awesome. So like, I just haven't gotten the second episode yet, but first episode, if you like, I'm a big sci-fi and horror fan, so like for me, those kind of tickle both my fancies on that. So I really enjoyed the first episode. So, yeah. Thanks, Greg.
I wasn't trying to tickle anyone tonight. Jesus Christ.
Not yet. The night is young. We're dorks, Eric, so sorry.
No, you're not hurting my feelings at all.
Yeah. Eric kind of should have known, but you know.
Yeah.
So we get to the point to where, Doug, you want to talk about your third beer?
Yes, and I have to say, I thought I was getting a different beer than what I got. This is from Smidox, and it's completely unlabeled. And he handed me a 4-pack of it, and he's like, "Here you go." Smitty's like, "Here you go, dude. I can't take all this back to Texas. You got it." I thought it was his smoked Doppelbock, which was awesome, and I was so enthused. That is not a smoked Doppelbock. I don't know what the fuck this is. He gave me a 4-pack of beer, and I have no idea what it is. Look at the color of that.
It could be a smoked Doppelbock, though.
That is not a smoked Doppelbock, dude. That is red or purple or whatever, the maroon, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, and it's not a collab. He did something else, so it's his other beer that he had there. And for the life of me, I cannot remember what he brought. So, yeah, I got 2 more of those. So guess what? You're getting in the mail, Greg.
What,
You're getting one of those, and you're going to figure it
what
out.
does it say? Okay, cool. Oh, I was gonna say, what does it taste like? I actually want to try to figure this out right now, but
Yeah. Also, Daniel got the same 4-pack, by the way. I thought it was a smoked doppelbock. I really did. I was like, oh man, I'm so happy I got the smoked doppelbock. It is not. So it tastes like a fruity ass beer, and that's fine. I just wasn't expecting that. You know what I mean? So I cannot identify what even fruits are in this.
I don't.
Is it tasty? Yes.
So
I just don't know what it is.
after working with a guy for Eric for 5 years, you would think that I would be able to make a segue off of the crazy things that he says, and I just cannot segue from fruit. What did you just say about fruity to what we need to transition next? And I'm over here trying, and he's just like, everything he says is like,
good luck, man.
So yeah, good luck. Here we go. right.
All right, Greg. Hey, so let's just not even segue.
So
just say
that's it right there. You nailed it. You nailed it. That's it.
That's it. We got to segue somewhere, dog. No. But do we have so one of the things about Eric that we should definitely talk about is that he is an actor, y'all. And so I just wanted to see if he sees any parallels between running a cafe and pursuing an acting career at the same time. And are there any and how also within that question is how do we get to acting?
Well, those are 2 different stories to tell you. So yeah. I will say really quick about the parallels with running a cafe or something like that and being an actor. I think there's more than you think. One aspect of it is you are part of a bigger team, of a bigger mission in both things. So at the cafe, I'm responsible for everybody who works for me and with me. I'm responsible for all the customers that I interact with and, keeping the space as it should be. And when you're on a set, you're responsible in that same way. You're responsible for your fellow actors. You're responsible for the crew, your partners in this. You're responsible for making the best product that you can, which is the movie itself, right? So there are parallels to a small business and being an actor, and I kind of do think about that when I'm doing both things. But that said, it is kind of bonkers the way all of this came about for me. So Doug talked about TikTok and my social media stuff, so we do have to go back to that, to the origins of this. So 3 years ago, I was just about a year into owning the cafe, and I had these Gen Z baristas who work for me, and they were like, dude, you are just, goofy and sentimental enough that like you need to be on TikTok. Right. And I was like, I don't know what that is. Like literally was like, I don't know how that works. So they were like, just do it. So I download it, and then I start sharing stories, right? I start posting things about just the way I view the world, things about my town, things about running a coffee shop and all this stuff. And, it gets a lot of traction, and I'm really enjoying it and building this community and all that stuff, right? So about a year or so into that, people all the time would say, hey man, your town, your story, your cafe, this environment that you live in, like the creek and the mountains and all this stuff, it all sounds like a Hallmark Christmas movie. And I was like, you know what? It does. Mm-hmm. So I made a video, and I was like, day one of asking Hallmark to come make a movie in my town, right? And I showed around the town and all this stuff. Hallmark did not see it, but an independent filmmaker in New York did. And she reached out to me literally the next day and said, hey, I make independent Christmas movies. We don't need Hallmark if you want to make a Christmas movie in your town. And so we had a couple of meetings and conversations, and we wound up making a Christmas movie in my town. This one, Mocha and Mistletoe. And it is insane.
Oh, so
and like
a candy cane film.
Yep. And her actual government name is Candy Cane, Candace Kane.
Wow.
And she goes by Candy. And she's done like 25 Christmas movies and is just like this incredible person. She's a good friend of mine now. And just the way that it happened was incredible. And it's literally, and I talk about this all the time, I just think it's so valuable to just put things out to the universe and just see what happens. Like just to be open to anything that can potentially happen, because
Sure.
you know, you never know what is possible unless you just put it out there and see. And this is one of those scenarios. So when she reached out to me and said, let's do it, at that time, I didn't necessarily have an intention of being in it as an actor. But as we had these conversations, it kind of made sense that I would. That whole thing. It is that story about how it happened is a Hallmark movie. But so maybe we'll make the making of, and it'll be the next thing. But like we had these conversations, and we realized, okay, like I want to be part of this, you know. So she asked me, she was like, "Well, do you have acting experience?" And I was like, "Well, when I was a kid, I did high school theater and musicals and all that stuff. And then in college, I did student films and some other little productions and all that, but then had literally put it down for 2 decades. Hadn't been on a stage, hadn't been in a production or anything for that whole time until this came up." And she was like, "Okay, well, you're going to be in this." I was like, "Okay." So leading up to that, she is the hardest working woman in show business. And she had these other independent films that she was doing leading up to the one we filmed, Mocha and Mistletoe, in December of 2024. And she had 3 movies that she was doing before that slate in December. So at this time, you know, we were talking, I think it was February, and she was like, "Hey, you know, I've got this one-off kind of one-day role in this movie that I'm doing. I'd like you to do it." So I went out, I flew to New York, and I did that. And it was literally 2 lines, but it was great. You know, I get to be on set and do that. And that experience just kind of reignited everything in me. And I remembered why I loved being part of those productions, and why I loved acting, and why I loved being part of these crews and bigger projects and all that stuff. And so I did 2 more of her things leading up to Mocha and Mistletoe. And then Mocha and Mistletoe was incredible. Like the crew came out to Evergreen. We set up in my cafe, like had if you go to my TikTok, you can find it by my name or at Javadad Life. I have all of these videos from that time where it was incredible. Like in the cafe where I normally am, you know, serving customers and all that stuff, there's cameras set up, there's lights, and like all of this craziness is happening. And we filmed in the cafe. It was great because I had to teach the other actors how to make mochas because they were supposed to be baristas at the cafe, but they were actors and they didn't know how to make the coffee. So I'm sitting there teaching them how to make the coffee and all of that. And it was just like the most wonderful experience. I was able to include so many people from my town. There was a big scene where we did this Christmas tree lighting, and we got to invite extras, and you know, a few dozen people from the town got to be in the movie as extras in it. I got to incorporate other businesses in town where the characters would go and visit places, and they would mention the business by name. And so it was just like this amazing community event. And yeah, I'm so excited for it. So it's all in post now. Hopefully we'll get it somewhere. I don't know. I kind of handed that off to Candy and her team to see where it's going to be distributed and all that. Like, I don't know yet, but hopefully I'll be able to tell everybody where to watch that soon. But the goal is still this holiday season. But it was an incredible experience.
I don't know how you follow that up, Doug, but good luck.
Hey, I'll take that. I'll take Vanessa Hudgens any day.
Listen, man. Oh, I want to ask a question about you posted, which I thought was fascinating because I never would have thought of it. Is the idea that you have to shave and then they pencil in your fucking beard for the
so that's
for your scenes. Like you have a nice just shade, and they're like, nope, we're gonna shave all that off, and then we're gonna put a bunch. It's like, what the hell is that?
So what that was about? So that was a movie I just wrapped called "I Got a Song: The Story of Sugarloaf." So Sugarloaf was the rock band in the 70s of that name. They had Green Eyed Lady was like kind of their like big hit that they had, and they're from Colorado. They're named after Sugarloaf Mountain, and their family lives just outside of Denver. And the son and daughter-in-law of the bassist from that band, his name is Bob Raymond. He's since passed away, but Aaron Raymond and Stacy Raymond wanted to make a film of their dad's story about their band and all of that. So they put this together. They did a call out on the casting sites and all that. And I went down and auditioned to be in the movie, and I got this role. And ironically, the role that I got was to play Aaron Raymond. So I was actually playing a real person who I got to see on set all the time. And so that was kind of surreal. But as part of that, the story takes place in the 70s, the 90s, and in the 20-teens. So there's parts where my character is 25 and there's parts where he's in his 40s. So sometimes we would have to do those on the same day. So I couldn't have the real hair on my face because I was supposed to take it off for when I was 25 and put it on when I was in my 40s. So we had to fake it. So I had to take it off and then do the scene when I was young and then put it back on when I was in my 40s.
How long did it take for them to put it quote unquote back on? How long did that take?
Oh, it's the little stipple or whatever. It's super quick. Like it's just the makeup artists. They're professionals and they just like take this little sponge and they just and it takes like 7 minutes. Like it's pretty quick.
One other question, Greg, if I may. We had on Mortal Content, which was Tuesday, we had Whitney Ann Adams, who is a costume designer and has done costume design for like crazy movies like The Great Gatsby and like Five Nights at Freddy's. Like her stuff goes all over the place and it's really great too. So what was it like doing wardrobe for that? When you're so here's the thing, you're doing a movie that probably doesn't have like a giant budget.
Correct.
So do you have to bring some of your own wardrobe, or is it really, hey, we have a wardrobe and we have a very specific thing for you?
Yeah. So it depends on the project for sure. But yeah, I mean, in these low budgets, like most of the time it's like, hey, your character is going to wear jeans and a sweater. You know what I mean? Like it's pretty simple. So for this one, yeah, a lot of it was just my own clothes. It was kind of funny for this particular one for the Sugarloaf movie because I was playing a real person. So I literally, in some of the scenes, wore Aaron's clothes because he was right there. He was like, "Here, wear my shirt."
Okay.
Yeah. So that that's a unique scenario, but
sure, for sure.
But yeah, for a lot of these, yeah, you're just the directors. They have an idea, but they don't necessarily have the budget for here's the 10 outfits your character's going to wear. Especially because, like, again, you can just wear a pair of jeans and they'll be fine, depending on what the character is and all of that. So they have an idea. I usually bring like a bag full of clothes and they just kind of pick through like, oh, this works. And we go from there.
Okay. I was just curious because low budget stuff versus like, hey, I'm on the Avengers. Here's
right.
Right. It's a different thing, right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Craig, any things that you're...
I'm good, dog. If you can... I'm good.
Yeah,
you got more?
No, I could go a million hours on this because I'm fascinated by the idea of like, here's this low budget film, how we're going to do this. So I had another question and goddamn, it just flew out of my brain. So I apologize.
Yeah, about, this, Eric, you haven't, so your whole trajectory, what is that, Doug? Trajectory?
Trajectory.
I can't say it either.
Trajectory.
Or what is it? Oh, actually, I should just say it's story arc. How about that?
And I can
let's do that. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm doing that devil's lettuce stuff, Doug. So you know what that.
I'm doing that devil's lettuce. Dude,
Doing devil's lettuce.
that sounded very boomerish of you, my friend. So I'm
But
doing that devil's lettuce.
but Eric, though, give us a background of
Anemone.
yeah, your acting trajectory or your story arc. It's a late one, right? You didn't have any early acting experience or
Oh, just
did
amateur
you?
stuff, right? So just those musicals and things like that in high school.
When was that? When you were much earlier? When you were like out of high school, or what was going on there?
Yeah, so I mean, I all I did before the last couple of years was all that stuff when I was a teenager and a young man, just in high school and college, just these little theater productions and a couple of student films. So it's kind of crazy the way that I'm coming back into it as a man who's just about to be 44, so which is not the traditional path for this, but I just keep getting reinforcement, that this is something that I should continue to pursue, either from connections that I make where I wind up doing something else, or just for myself, where I get this level of excitement or fulfillment or joy that maybe I hadn't experienced in a while. I'm just like, oh, like maybe I should lean into that a little bit and see what else happens. So that's kind of where I'm at. I'm not trying to force the issue at all, and I'm not just like banging down producers' doors and like saying like I want to be in your movie and all that stuff, but I am being intentional, and I'm trying to I talk about honoring the moment, right? So I'm trying to honor this moment where this is happening for me in a way that I maybe didn't expect. So I want to show up, be professional, do things the right way, be a good team member and all that stuff. So I'm not going to be late to set. I'm going to be the guy studying my lines 100 times, right? Like all that stuff. I'm going to show up right because I want to honor the moment, So that's where I'm at. And just real quick, because I was thinking about it, because you guys were talking about sci-fi and horror and all that stuff. The last thing that I did was a zombie apocalypse short. So
Really?
yeah, so that
Where can we find that?
Yeah, so it's not out, obviously. We just filmed it. It's going to be I think he's trying to put it into like the festival circuit. So I'll see where it's going to wind up and all of that. Basically, it's a proof of concept he wants to do because he wants to make it a feature. So we're doing the short first. This is based on a novel. I actually have it right here. It's called Martha's Notebook. And super cool because the idea is that the zombies are infected by AI. So what the basis essentially is in this world's version of like when you go in and get like a Neuralink or whatever, right? Like you get installed with something and it's supposed to be great, right? And it's supposed to do this, whatever.
It's not. Never is.
And then it winds up taking over and you become a zombie and all that stuff, right? So it's a really cool concept, and I'm really excited about it and being a part of it and all of that. And so we did that last weekend, and it's cool because my, no spoilers, but my character goes through some things, and there's some prosthetics that I get to wear for like an injury on my face, and it's
very nice.
Super cool. It's super cool. So that was cool too. Talking about makeup and all of that. Just like the makeup artist made a mold of what the wound was supposed to look like, and then brought this like silicone piece, and then she like measured it on my face and trimmed it so it fit just perfectly, and then glued it down with spirit gum and all that stuff or whatever, right? And then put all this fake blood on it, and it looked cool.
Can I just say that I was my follow-up is when I was in college 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago, 32, 33 years ago, we were on a break at college, and I stayed on campus because I was working down there, and we did a dumb, not for any class, we were just doing it because the one guy had a fucking camera, and we were just we did a dumb movie called Casehead where we wore like a Coors Light case, and that was the killer. It was the dumbest thing ever. Pumpkin head, but it was Coors Light Casehead killer, and it was so dumb. I remember I couldn't even tell you what the point of that was. We were just drunk the entire time, so it didn't matter. We were just like, hey, let's just go out and do this dumb thing. Like to the point that we just thanks, Greg. Yeah, man.
Come on, man.
There was a quarry near where our college was, and a lot of kids would go to the quarry, and like part of it was like there was like a 35-foot jump you could jump into the quarry, which was probably unsafe, but we didn't care. We were in college. And one thing where the guy chased us and I fell off the quarry ledge, off. I just jumped into the quarry. So super dumb.
I love that. No, but those are the things like you were talking about. What else I'd done? Like I did that stuff when I was a kid too. I mean, we had a camcorder that you put the full size VHS into, right?
Yep, that was a fucking camera. It was like this giant.
Yeah, right. It was like a boombox, right? And we did that as kids. Like me and my brothers, we made stupid movies just like that, just in our house and running around and pretending.
Yeah, there was
like jump cuts where we would like throw a basketball in the air and then we pretend like we're running and the basketball's in the air and you run like 100 feet and you catch the ball like you're like the Flash or whatever, like dumb stuff like that. Like, and that was like what started the whole thing for me.
Yeah. I was never going to act. That was not a thing I was good at, but like that was just some dumb thing we did. So.
But it's fun, right?
It's fun. I have no idea where that footage is. Hopefully that never surfaces.
Tell me you grew up in Eastern Pennsylvania without telling me you grew up in Eastern Pennsylvania by hanging out at a quarry and shit. Yep. Fuck yeah. Like, I already know because
you did too, Greg. You know me. Oh, can I tell you a dumb quarry story that is really very Pennsylvania, very rural Pennsylvania? So there was this quarry near where we were at this college, and there was a kid whose last name was Simmons, and for some dumb reason, he called himself O. Simmons. What did he? You know, when you go to college, you meet someone who just seems like a character that isn't real, but he just makes himself this weird thing that if you submitted this to Hollywood, they'd be like, you can't put that person in because that sounds fucking dumb and nobody would ever believe it. This guy took his car, his fucking shitty, I can't even remember it was a shitty car. And he was like so mad that his car was shitty and his parents wouldn't buy a new car. He drove it off this ledge into the quarry while he was in it.
Oh.
And
didn't die? Is that the rest of the story?
He didn't die. He was laughing his ass off at it. He was swimming away from his car, just sinking into the quarry. What is going on? I just like, what is this guy doing? You're gonna die. You hit your head on the steering wheel. You're gonna knock yourself out, and you're gonna be dead as it floats to the bottom of the quarry. And everyone was like cheering him on because we're fucking drunk idiots at college. And he was like, "Oh, Zimmons." It wasn't even O. Simmons. It was Zo Zimmons. Like there was a Z in it. It was just. It was. We've all met people that you're just like, this person is not a real person because there's no way anybody is this far out on the fringe of what is normal, and just oh my god, it was like people were cheering. He jumped, everybody goes like, yeah, and then he comes out and he just fucking swims out of the car, just like and I'm like, how the fuck are you gonna drive anywhere, dude? It's just the dumbest.
Did he yell America after that too?
No, he didn't. But like,
I mean,
anyway. Sorry, that was that. Listen, there's, as Greg knows, there's quarries everywhere. Hold on. Hey, I have to step away for just a second. Give me just.
I have one. Yeah, we have one. Eric, I have one last. We're going to wrap it up here soon. We want to thank you for joining us and having a great conversation. One of the things I want to make sure my research here is right. So if I'm wrong, please let me know. Don't feel bad about it. But my research says here that you've also been in commercials and a true crime reenactment podcast. Is that true?
That is correct. Yeah.
Okay.
So
how do those, tell the story about those, but how do those different types of acting experiences compare? Because it's kind of weird.
Yeah, I mean they're different animals, right? Like similar but different. So when you're on a movie set, there's expectations that maybe are a little different. Maybe you're there for multiple days, and all of that. But with a commercial or like this true crime reenactment thing, sometimes that can just be like a morning or like half a day and all of that. And so that was super fun. So I got those gigs through there's different places where acting gigs get posted, right? There's things called Actors Access. There's like groups on Facebook and other places where people post acting jobs. So I'm in a few of those, and the commercial, the first one that I did was a car dealership commercial, and it was cool because the ad for the job said they were looking for a dad who wants to take his kids out on an adventure. And I was like, yes, please, I want to do that. So I actually did this commercial with my actual kids, and it was super fun. So we got to go out to this beautiful part of Colorado and drive this brand new Toyota 4Runner like into the woods and stuff, and then jumped out with my kids and ran around, and it was amazing. It's something that
Bad moment
forever, So like super cool that I got to do that with my family. And side note, we were talking about visions for the future with the cafe, visions for like this whole crazy side quest. That's part of it for me too, is being able to incorporate my family into what I'm doing, being able to take them, maybe this time next year, I'm on one of those bigger sets and I'm, getting fitted for my cod piece for my superhero uniform or whatever. And my family is like visiting the crazy town that we're in or whatever. Right. So that's kind of like, what I'm looking at. And I love to incorporate family into all this stuff that I'm doing. It matters to me a lot. So I'm glad we got this commercial, early into my adventure into this, and hopefully there's going to be more opportunities for that. But yeah, so I did that. I did a commercial.
Was it for a Subaru dealership?
It wasn't Subaru. It was Toyota this time, but yeah, Subaru next time. But so this next one I did was for Hydro Pack, and they make these like kind of like Camelback. They make those packs for hydration or whatever, they do filtration systems where you can like dip this pack into the creek that you're at, and it filters through to drinkable water and all that stuff. So speaking about Colorado names, I went to Rustic, Colorado. That is actually the name of the city, Rustic, Colorado, to film that commercial for Hydro Pack. And that was super cool too, because we went to a beautiful location, and I loved it, like kind of every second of that. Again, there's like behind the scenes stuff on my TikTok about all this stuff, but the true crime thing, that was cool too. That was for a podcast, Sword and Scale. And they tell these stories about true crime, and they do it all over the country. And they happen to be doing 2 stories that were murders that happened here in Colorado. So they were looking for, it's mostly that's kind of like B-roll. That's like background stuff where like somebody's narrating what's happening. So I was an FBI agent in those, where I was like interviewing the suspect, and wearing my little booties and walking around and doing swabs of blood splatter or whatever and stuff like that. Those should be out pretty soon, but that was super fun too. So yeah, it's just like all of these like disparate but like similar opportunities, and just trying to get myself out there and continue to do this more and more, because I love it.
Doug, do you have any more questions for our friend here?
Nah, man. Listen, we could go, like I said, we could go another hour on things. So Eric, I really appreciate you coming on for this. And it's one of the things, like, you and I aren't close, but like the dad blogger fucking community kind of ties us in ways we don't realize. Greg was part of it too. That's where Greg and I met to do this show. So like, I'm appreciative of the fact that you're able to come on here, talk about all your stuff, talk about coffee, talk about empathy, talk about acting, talk about all the things, man. So I really appreciate that you took the time to come here and just chat with us about all the stuff that you are doing, because you're a busy guy. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And yeah, like you said, these communities that we're a part of, we don't like, chat every day or whatever, but these different groups, my favorite thing about the dad networks and all that stuff. It's just like, I love being connected to people who give a shit. You know what I mean? People who care, and everybody cares. And I'm a big fan of those communities.
Yeah, and I feel like the idea of like the dad blogger stuff where you're like, hey, all of us are like here, and like the emotionality of that was really interesting. Just yeah, I saw something recently where I think Jeff Bogo reposted where this kid was from Australia and he was a punter for the University of Nebraska football team, and he was like, they said, how is it now that you're like, a reporter asked him, how is it now that you're home and you're like, you're here and you're away from your family? And he just started crying. And like, people were like, most people were super supportive, and a lot of people were just dicks.
Yeah.
And just the idea of like, just being vulnerable and being emotional. And I love that you do that. And I've seen in your TikTok videos countless times just how you're just willing to just be who you are and be emotional. And that's good stuff. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think modeling that stuff matters, especially for men and fathers. So yeah, I'm going to keep doing that. So.
All right, Eric, before you get out of here, you have 2 things to tell us about. This is number 1.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So you can find me most days at the cafe at Java Groove in downtown Evergreen, Colorado. So if you come through, please come through, say hi. Lots of times I'm wearing a shirt that says, come get this hug, and I mean it. And if I'm standing behind the counter, I will run around and give you a hug if you ask me and you consent. So please come visit me at the cafe.
All right. And then we'll let everybody know about this, but you could tell us about what you know about it now.
Yeah, like I said, so it's still in post. I don't know where it's going to be picked up yet, but we made everything independently. I'm looking forward to getting some updates from Candy on who's picking it up for distribution. And once I know, I will definitely let everybody know. We'll do a premiere somewhere here in Evergreen. And yeah, it should be a lot of fun. But I loved making this movie, and I think a lot of people will like it.
Well, excellent. Thank you, Eric, for appearing with us. And we would love to have you back whenever you have anything to talk about. But you're always going to have something to talk about, I can tell. You're one of them people.
Yeah, so, that's how I roll. So thank you, guys. I really appreciate you taking the time to have me, too.
Absolutely. And have a great holidays if we don't speak to you or have you back before then. But so cheers, Eric.
You too. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you, Eric.
Of course.
Cool. Let's do this. And let's do this. I had water. Doug had.
Yeah, hold on. So I messaged Smitty. I was like, dude, you gave me cans, and I thought that was a smoked doppelbock. Wasn't? He gave me what it was. So I had everything I had was a fucking banger in different ways. So I had this. Greg, I really wish I had another can of this because you would absolutely love this. The stone fruit peach kush kush from Vellum with Crafted for Action. Yeah. No, hold on. I got what it is, Daniel. And Zynga beer is fucking great. That is an OG. That shit fucking rocks every time you drink it. So, according to Smitty, the big cans that he gave me that were labeled were a Brett Saison with blackberry and plum. And man, it was good. The problem is when you get something unlabeled and you're just like trying to identify shit. I could taste the blackberry and plum when he told me that, but like when I was trying to identify it, I couldn't, and that's make me feel like a dumbass. But the Doppelbock was with nibs, anise, and cinnamon. That was a smoked Doppelbock he made that I tried, which was fucking great. That was superb, and I wish I'd have gotten cans of that. But this was very good too. So it was, like I said, all bangers, and no bad beers. So cheers to that.
All right. And you set me up nice with that. So someone who has produced a bunch of bangers is our next guest next week.
Yeah. So next week we are having Chuck Wendig, a guy I've been trying to get on the show for like fucking 5 years. So I've been struggling to get him on. So, but Chuck is an author and has written for like Star Wars IP and like written all kinds of stuff. So just great. We are going to be starting an hour early. We're going to be starting at 8 Eastern, 7 Central, 5 Pacific. So if you're going to be around, we are starting an hour earlier to accommodate that. So yes, Greg, that is the true ending there. So
Oh.
yeah. So
it's cool. The producer knows.
yeah. Sorry, man.
No.
I'm gonna preface this like Daniel saw this when he was at my house for Barrel and Flow, and I have a beer I have been saving specifically for Wendig to be on that it's 6 years old and is in my Silverine fridge. So yeah, it's gonna be.
I have a guess, but I'm not gonna guess it.
You probably know what it is, so it's okay. Eric, want to say thank you again for being on. Super appreciative of you being on talking about your stuff. So thank you.
Coffee guy. Okay. At Java Dad Life on the wild platform that is TikTok. That shit's
I think it's also that on a lot of other platforms too, if I'm not mistaken.
cool.
So yeah,
I think that's
and he just validated that is exactly everywhere. So
yeah, and that's his prime though, right? That's like
Eric, I'm just saying if you want content that you're going to just makes your heart feel happy, please just follow him. You won't be disappointed.
All right, Doug. Sometimes, I mean, I do have fun doing this, but sometimes it makes my heart happy getting out of here. I don't know. I'm just trying to do these segues.
We're great at it, my friend. Always.
See you next week with.
Cheers, folks.
Thanks again, Eric. It's a great time.